Haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Memhei Amud Beis, 14 lines from the bottom. In the ongoing machlokes between Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Yehuda, in regards to Muktzah, Rabbi Shimon is the more makel opinion, Rabbi Yehuda is more machmir. The Gemara wants to identify what does Rabbi Yochanan himself hold. Does he hold like Rabbi Shimon, more makel, or in regards to Muktzah, more machmir like Rabbi Yehuda? Now I'd like to begin to get a running start from the last part of the Gemara that we learned last time. At the end of the line it begins the word ki. It's parallel to Rashi, Dibar Maschil, the is bo beitzas efroyach. Says the Gemara, ki also Rav Yitzchok beRabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yochanan halochak Rabbi Yehuda. When Rav Yitzchok came from Eretz Yisrael, in the name of Yosef, he said that Rabbi Yochanan says the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, the more machmir opinion in regards to Muktzah. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi Omar halacha ki Rabbi Shimon, whereas Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi said that the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon. Omar Rav Yosef, Hainu do Omar Rabbi bar bar Chana. This is what Rabbi bar bar Chana had said earlier, towards the higher part of the Amud. The Gemara said in his name that he said the words that Rabbi Yochanan Amru. In other words, Hainu Omar Rabbi bar Chana, Rabbi Yochanan Amru halacha ki Rabbi Shimon Amru. He said that they said, referring to they in the Beis HaMedrash, said that the halachas that Rabbi Yochanan ascribes to the opinion of Rabbi Shimon. V'lei loy svirolei. But Rabbi Yosef comments and says that indeed Rabbi Yochanan does not ascribe the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, but rather like Rabbi Yehuda, the more machmir opinion of Muktzah. Says our Gemara now, Omar le Abai le Rabbi Yosef. Abai turns to Rabbi Yosef. Va'ad lo tizburo de Rabbi Yochanan ki Rabbi Yehuda. And you didn't know until now that indeed Rabbi Yochanan says the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. Ho Rabbi Abba Rabbi Asi ikloi lebe Rabbo be Rabbi Abba debmin Chaifa. Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Asi came to visit Rabbi Abba. V'nofal minarta al galimei Rabbi Asi v'lo tiltala. And a menorah fell on the cloak of Rabbi Asi, and he didn't pick it up, indicating that it was muktzah because he didn't want to move the menorah. So he didn't pick up the menorah. Ask the Gemara, my taima. La mishum Rabbi Asi the Talmid did Rabbi Yochanan have it? Is it not because Rabbi Asi is the Talmud of Rabbi Yochanan? The Rabbi Yochanan ki Rabbi Yehuda sirulei. And Rabbi Yochanan goes like the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. The Islay Muktzah, that there's Muktzah. Therefore, that's the reason why, indeed, Rabbi Asi did what he did. Because Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rabbi Yehuda in regards to Muktzah. Omar lei. So, Rabbi Yosef says back to Abaye, Minarta ka'amris. You said a menorah. And therefore, there's no proof from there that Rabbi Yochanan holds a Muktzah. Why? As follows. Minarta shiny. A menorah is different. Dom Rav Acha bar Chanina Rabbi Asi. Hoyre reish lokish betzidon menorah haniteles biyodoi achas mutter letaltelo. A menorah that can be carried with one hand, that is mutter to be moved on Shabbos. Bishtei yodov osir letaltelo. However, if it's a menorah that requires two hands, that cannot be moved on Shabbos. The Gemara will explain the reasoning. Rabbi Yochanan Omar, Onu ein lanu ela bener ke Rabbi Shimon. We only hold like Rabbi Shimon gabe ner. In regards to a ner that is a ner made out of earthenware, and it was already used, there's a problem of the muktzah machmas mius, becomes disgusting, and therefore you can only use it to light. You're not going to use it to store your things in it. So in that we hold like Rabbi Shimon. Aval menorah. Here Rabbi Yochanan says, but in regards to a menorah, that whether it's a smaller menorah or a bigger menorah, where you can handle it with one hand or pick it up with two hands, that is always going to be also to move on Shabbos. The time of Mai. So what's the reason, Taka, why a menorah would be muktzah? Rav Yosef Damar Travayu Hoyav Adam Kovea Lo Mokom, because a person sets a specific place for the menorah to be designated, and therefore he's not going to move it from that place. Whereby, if he does, it'll become a problem of muktzah. So therefore, that's the reason why menorah is different. But you don't have a raya that he holds like Rabbi Yehuda until now. And therefore, I needed indeed the statement before that Rabbi Yitzchak had made that said that indeed Rabbi Yochanan's position is like Rabbi Yehuda. Now Abai turns to Rabbi Yosef on this last prat and says to him, is this indeed true that being koveya makom makes it muktzah? V'harei kilas chasanim, the adam koveya lo makom. A kilas chasanim, where a person is koveya makom. What is a kilas chasanim? That is where there is a bed, and then they would put a stick across the length of the bed, and then they would drape over a sheet or a blanket, and then it would go outwards across from the bed. So there, the Gemara says, "V'amar Shmuel mishum Rabbi Chia v'kilas chasonim mutar l'toiso mutar lefarek b'Shabbos." By a kilas chasonim, it's mutar. Shmuel said, in the name of Rabbi Chia, that you can go ahead and take it down and also put it back up on Shabbos. So you see that there's not a problem of a metaltel, the kilas chasonim, even though you're kovei lo makom. Now, as an aside, this is not a problem of a malacha of soiser or boine, because even though a oihel is osir afilu if it's an oil arai, but over here, since it doesn't have a gag of a tefach, as it goes down like a tent in this way, therefore there's no gag tefach, whereby there's no problem of the Isser Deraisa. But he says also there's a problem with Derabanan of being metaltelit. Elomar Abaye, rather Abaye says, what is the reason why indeed there's a problem to then metaltel menorah? Bishel chuliyos, because we're talking about a menorah of chuliyos where it has different parts. And therefore the Chacham were concerned if you are metaltel a menorah shel chuliyos, if it falls, then you'll have to then reassemble it, and you'll be over in Isser Diraisa of being boine a kli, either boine or makibe patish, and therefore they said it's also to then carry a menorah shel chuliyos. Yehochi asked the Gemara, my time with Reish Lakish, the Shari, what's the reason why Rav Shimon Lakish said that it's mutter? After all, if there's a concern that you might come to then reassemble it, then he would agree that it would be osir. My chuliyos, answers the Gemara, ke'ein chuliyos, the isba chidki. The Gemara retracts and says, no, we're not talking about a menorah of chuliyos, because that even Reish Lakish would agree would be osir to metaltel. We're talking about a menorah of chidki, where there are grooves that are engraved in the menorah. And therefore, it has the impression like a menorah shel chuliyos. As follows, Hilkach, the chuliyos, ben gedoyla, ben ketana, asur l'tal. The Gemara says, in summation, a menorah of chuliyos, whether it's small or whether it's big, because it's made out of parts, the Chacham said you cannot metaltel that, because again, you might come to reassemble it on Shabbos. Gedoyla nami the isba chidki. If you have a menorah that's gedoyla, that's a big menorah, and it has grooves in it, so then the Chacham were concerned that it will then give the appearance of a menorah that is of chuliyos, and therefore they answered that otu chuliyos. Gezerah otu gdoila de chuliyos. Ki pligis, what's the machlokes? Since both Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan agree by a menorah gedoila of chidki, answers the Gemara to explain the machlokes. Ki pligi bektana the isbe chidki. If it's a small menorah that has grooves in it, there's a machlokes whether we make a gezerah otu chuliyos or not. Mar savar gazrinon or mar savar lo gazrinon. Rabbi Yochanan says we do make a gezerah even of a small menorah of chidki otu a menorah of chuliyos, whereas Reish Lakish said we don't make such a gezerah. Ask the Gemara now to challenge the sheet of Rabbi Yochanan. Umiyam Rabbi Yochanan hachi, does Rabbi Yochanan really say this, that indeed the halacha in regards to muksa is like Rabbi Yehuda, the more machmir opinion? V'ha'amar Rabbi Yochanan, behold, Rabbi Yochanan said, halacha kistam mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion that we go la halacha kistam mishnah when the mishnah doesn't state a specific opinion. So Rabbi Yochanan paskins the halacha like that mishnah. V'tnan, we have a stam mishnah as follows. This we saw in the previous daf. Muchni shelah. In regards to a muchni, we said a muchni is a wheel. When you have a box, a large box, and it has in the front of the box 2 different wheels, so you can carry it like a wheelbarrow. And the wheels are called a muchni. So it says, Bisman shehi nishmetis. If these are wheels that are easily taken off from the box, from the shida. So we have the following halacha, says the Mishnah. First halacha is ein chibur lo. There's no connection together with that box. In other words, if a sheretz were to touch the box, and the box was less than arba'im sa, it will metame the box, but it will not metame the wheels that are connected to the box, because it's not a true chibur. That's one halacha, or vice versa. If a sheretz were to touch the wheels, and the wheels would become tameh, it wouldn't metame the box, even though they're currently being attached to the box. Ve'ein nimdedes imo. Also, another halacha is that the box is not measured together with the wheels. In order to be then something that's not mekabel tuma, it has to be arba'im sa without the wheels. Another halacha, says the Mishnah, ve'ein matzeles imo be'oil hames. And in regards to this box, if it were be on top of a kever, so the tuma, if the box was arba'im sa, it would not metame the box. But indeed, if you have wheels that are currently attached to the box, they would become tameh since they're over the kever. Now, le'inyanenu, the Mishnah says, ve'ein garin oisa b'Shabbos bizman sheyesh aleh mos, and you cannot drag the wheels on Shabbos when they have money on top of those wheels because of an issue of muktzah. The Gemara makes a diuk, ha'ein aleh mos sharia, but if it doesn't have the money on it, it fell off. So then it would be mutter to then drag the wheels because they're no longer an issue of muktzah. Even though that money was on the wheel and the entire ben hashmashos. So you see over here, like the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, that we don't say migu di iskatzoi leben hashmashos, iskatzoi lekol yoyma. You have to say that the Mishnah, when it says that it was on, the money was on the wheel, you have to say it was on the wheel, but it was not on the wheel during the Ben Hashmashos. And therefore, when it falls off the wheel during Shabbos, therefore you can go ahead and drag the wheel. As not to then break, so to speak, the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, because indeed, according to this, we can understand that this Mishnah is altered by Rabbi Yehuda, since we do say migu iskatzoi, but over here there was no money on the muchni during Ben Hashmashos. Says the Gemara the following few incidents. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi said the following: Pam achas holach Rebbe lediuspora. There was a time that Rebbe went to the Yuspora, certain place. V'hare b'menorah Rabbi Shimon baner, and he ruled that menorah is like Rabbi Shimon baner, and that's a little bit ambiguous. What did he mean to say? Ask the Gemara. Iboilahu hara b'menorah Rabbi Shimon baner lehetera. Did he matir the menorah like Rabbi Shimon baner or not? Or Dilma hara b'menorah li'isura u'Rabbi Shimon baner leheter. Or do you mean to say that menorah is aser, but ner is mutter like Rabbi Shimon? And that the Gemara says, leaves it as an unanswered question. Now the Gemara goes to a few different amoroim in regards to the issue of being metaltel a menorah. Rab Malchia ikla lebei Rab Simloi. Rab Malchia, he went to the house of Rabbi Simloi. V'tiltel shraga v'ikpid Rabbi Simloi. And he was metaltel a shraga, a menorah, and Rabbi Simloi was makpid. Rabbi Yosi Gililoi Yikloi La Asrei Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Chanino Tilta Shraga V'ikpi Rabbi Yosi Rabbi Chanino. And here Rabbi Yosi Gililoi was metaltel a shraga, and again Rabbi Yosi Bar Chanino here was makpid on him. Rabbi Abohu Ki Ikloi La Asrei Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. When Rabbi Abohu went in to visit, and he went into the vicinity where Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi was the Marada Asra, have a metalta shraga. He was metalta shraga on Shabbos. Ki ikloi la asrei Rabbi Yochanan loy have a metalta shraga. However, when he went to the vicinity of Rabbi Yochanan, where Rabbi Yochanan was the Mar the Asra, there he was not metaltel the shraga. Ask the Gemara, Monavshoch. If indeed he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, then why wasn't he metaltel the shraga also in the place of Rabbi Yochanan? And if he holds like Rabbi Shimon, Shehu shouldn't have metaltel the shraga in the first place. So why is it that he did in one place like Rabbi Shimon, one place Rabbi Yehuda? What does he hold? What is his shita? Answers the Gemara, La'olam ke Rabbi Shimon svirulei. Really, he holds like Rabbi Shimon. If that's the case, then why did he not metaltel the shraga when he was in the vicinity where Rabbi Yochanan was a Mar da Asra? Answers the Gemara, Umishum kavoided Rabbi Yochanan hu delo havam havid. And because of the kavod of the Mar da Asra, Rabbi Yochanan, for that reason he wasn't there metaltel the shraga.